I'm letting you guys know right now, I'm gonna be acting like a fool in this video. Out of all the movies I wanted to cover after starting this horror journey, this was the one I've been the most excited about. Stay F***ing Alive. That's not in the title, I'm just really hyped right now. I mean, it's a horror movie about gamers, and as a gamer who loves horror, I feel seen because it's about said gamers. How many times are you gonna say gamers? But enough yapping, I'm here to talk to you about the 2006 cult classic, Stay Alive. Let's get into it. Yeah, no, that is literally how the movie starts. Not even a millisecond in and there's a jump scare. Whose idea was this? I don't know if this is low-key genius or off-putting. Maybe a mixture of both. And we get thrown right into the game of Stay Alive. That's right, the game in Stay Alive and the movie share the same name. I don't know why I felt the need to explain that to you. We then switch to a first-person point of view. The character in the game is walking through a very ominous mansion. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this place is low-key nice. If it wasn't for the murderous toddlers, I'd definitely consider it. We also get a glimpse of our main antagonist, Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who is a real person and alleged serial killer. But just like H.H. Holmes, I've seen a lot of exaggerated claims on the crimes she was alleged to have committed, so I'll let my historians handle that in the comments, because I surely don't want to be spreading any false information. I do know that the bathing in blood thing wasn't real, at least I think. Anyways, Mermaid Man would say she's evil. Now while this guy's walking around the mansion, we start to hear a buzzing sound. This is used to signify the paranormal happenings that will be, well, happening. And Miss Bathory makes her appearance. And for a fake video game, these graphics aren't too bad. She levitates towards our pro-tab because it's not a 2000s horror movie if someone isn't aggressively levitating. He goes to run towards the door, but boom, it slams. Even worse, children on the walls. It's way past your bedtime, little ones. Having trouble sleeping? Don't worry, I have the perfect thing for that. Warning though, it's a little loud. They're coming from all directions, so he runs upstairs to find a torture room, even more dead kids, and Elizabeth appears out of nowhere. He's launched off the ledge of the stairs and miraculously gets hung by a chain nearby. Damn, these ghosts got Indiana Jones level of accuracy. We get a game over screen and the camera cuts to not our main character, Loomis. The movie will lead you to believe otherwise because he's the first face we see, and he calls his friend Hutch, our actual main character. He lets him know about his experience with Stay Alive. Since I believe that Loomis is a beta tester for the game, it's not officially released yet. We also get a Fatal Frame reference.
Man, sick as shit since Fatal Frame. It was creepy.
Yes, I love Fatal Frame. It's awesome and very underrated. He begs for Hutch to come over, but Hutch says he can come crash this weekend and they both hang up. We can also assume that bad things are going to start happening because there's a thunderstorm outside. Nothing happy ever happens during thunderstorms in scary movies. Loomis is very jumpy, understandably so. I remember watching this movie as a kid and I was spooked. He heads upstairs to check on his roommate or roommates because he opens the door and they're just straight up banging. What the f is on your head? Do I even want to know? Listen, I try to practice not kink shaming. Maybe they're really big fans of Charlotte's Web, but who the hell wants to look back at this while getting back shots? I'm probably asking too many questions. I don't think you're asking enough. These two also played the game. They were the ones in the torture room we saw earlier. I guess they decided to pass the time differently. Oh my god, babe, we died. I'm lonely. I just assume that's how it goes. Moving on, Loomis heads to bed, but he ends up having nightmares about the game. Oh, and the power's out. So much fun. He heads downstairs with a lighter in hand and starts hearing that familiar buzzing sound from earlier. Oh, bad things are coming to our boy Loomis. Oh, but I kind of like him. And he drinks milk by itself too? I feel seen. Anyway, he sees a dark shadow in the kitchen. That looks absolutely ridiculous. I feel like it would have been scarier if Elizabeth herself was standing there rather than Phantom motherfucking Opera. But kudos to Loomis here because he straight up throws a glass of milk at this thing. I prefer bullets, but hey, maybe demons gotta maintain their calcium levels too. He runs upstairs to find the other two dead. Like very dead. Like dead as a... Oh, that's clever. A chain spontaneously appears around his neck and he's killed the exact same way he died in the game. I hope we can put two and two together, my friends. Title card. San Francisco. Not even close. Oh. Where does this take place? New Orleans. Oh, right. New Orleans! God, that C I got in geography is really catching up to me. We see our main man Hutch once again. Oh, he's an office worker. Shout out to all the office workers if you're watching this. You're so strong, I could not do what you do. I mean, granted, I spend a lot of time at my desk, but you can't beat your meat in the cubicle.
You're weird, buddy. You're weird!
He gets called into his boss's office, Miller Banks. Now, for the life of me, I cannot get a read on whatever accent he's trying to do in this movie.
Alright, listen to me now, okay? I hired you for one reason. Okay, and one reason only. Now, the walkthrough says I dumped the M when the boss dies.
He either sounds like a cartoon mobster or a male Sandy from SpongeBob. Hutch thinks he's in trouble, but his boss couldn't care less about his actual work. He wants tips on how to beat Silent Hill 4. I love the subtle references in this movie, especially when it comes to the horror genre of gaming. I'm more of a Resident Evil guy myself, but Silent Hill is 100% goated, especially when it comes to survival horror. However, our video game banter is cut short as Hutch gets a phone call and his entire demeanor changes, and he receives the news that Loomis is dead. We cut to the funeral and all the friends and family are all grieving, no pun intended, and then we get Wish.com Jennifer Tilly. Okay, maybe that's a little mean. Her name's Abigail, a photographer of sorts. And 5 seconds later, she does this. You know, there's a long list of things you shouldn't do at a funeral. Be destructive, make a scene, do the Dougie on the casket, lots of things. And I'm sure laughing after taking a picture of someone who's grieving their best friend is at a decent spot up on that list. This is our first interaction we get with this character, mind you, and now we know she's a psychopath. Great. She also wasn't even a friend of Loomis's. She was friends with his roommates, who get completely glossed over, by the way, and their murder was way grislier than Loomis's. We also get a very awkward interaction between Hutch and Loomis's sister, but she ends up giving him a bag full of video games. They belong to Loomis. Their parents were going to throw him out, so she decides to put him to good use and give him to Hutch. Little does she know, she just sealed his fate. Mwahahaha. Okay, that was fucking stupid. Anyway, Hutch gives Loomis's sister another hug to comfort her, and this bitch is still taking photos. Is nothing sacred to you? Abigail also gives Hutch her number if he needs anyone to talk to. Trust me, Blondie, it won't be you. We cut to a gamer lounge, which I've always wanted to go to one of these. Also, don't think I didn't notice the two of these monitors are playing the exact same game. We meet another one of our main characters, October. I don't have any jokes for that. I mean, she's named after a month, for crying out loud. And it just so happens to be the spooky month. Ooh, you're so clever. And she also happens to be Hutch's girlfriend. Okay, Hutch, I see you. Got you a little golf baddie. Although I'm pretty sure they try to set up a romance spot between him and Abigail later on, so this plot point is just unneeded. And they barely act like a couple in this movie anyway. She gives my man a double cheek kiss like she's his fucking grandma. We then meet my favorite character of the movie, Finn, October's brother, who just happens to be played by the incomparable Jimmy Simpson. I'm not sure if this was my first time seeing him, because he also played a character on one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Psych. But either way, I love him. He falls into the same category as Matthew Lillard for me. I haven't seen him in loads of stuff, but the stuff I've seen him in, I enjoyed his performance. I will say though, he is a gigantic douchebag in this movie. Guy makes a joke about Hutch's dead parents and best friend in the same sentence. And usually I condemn someone for something like that, but God, he's so charismatic. Unlike Ryan from The Gallows, he can get away with it because I don't want to actively punch him in the jugular. Oh yeah, and Hutch's parents are like super dead. Died in a fire when he was a little boy. We get reminded of this because Finn thinks it's a good idea to use a lighter right in front of him. Oh, so he's afraid of fire. Makes sense. Unlike from when they tried to do it for Freddy vs. Jason, which was the dumbest plot point ever, saying Jason was afraid of water. He has scenes of him coming back to life in water. Okay, sorry for the Freddy vs. Jason tangent. Also, let me know if you want a video on that in the comments. Anyway, I'm sure he'll bravely overcome that fear by the end of the movie, right? Right? Anyway, Finn looks in the bag to see if he can find any cool titles, and oh, what do you know? The first game he pulls is Stay Alive. I love that for them. And then we get a line that actually resonates with me.
I know he did some beta testing. I beta tested for a while. It's awesome at first, and it's just goddamn monotonous.
It reminds me of when I wanted to be a video game / beta tester, only for me to find myself in a deep rabbit hole of subreddits from people who do that exact same thing, and I realized how much of a nightmare it is. Finn says he wants to play the game, and Hutch is like, I don't know, that's a little weird, don't you think? I mean, this is the game Loomis was playing the night he died. And Finn responds with this.
If Loomis was indeed testing this game, that means it is barely legal.
What is that even supposed to mean? You know what? The longer I think about it, the creepier it gets. Moving on, we cut to Hutch in his apartment washing dishes. How much is that desk job paying you, Hutch? We out here reusing solo cups? I mean, in today's economy, this would actually be really smart. Then you hear someone rustling outside his front door. He looks through the peephole, and we get a Frankie Muniz jump scare. Oh yeah, Frankie Muniz is in this movie, by the way. Right at the tail end of his Malcolm in the Middle run, as that show will go on to air its last episode a couple months later. Which is crazy because it just came back with a miniseries a few days ago. His character's name is Swink. I'm contemplating on just calling him Frankie for the rest of the video. Also, what the fuck are you wearing? It looks like you lost your clothes and had to wear whatever they had in Lost and Found. In fact, everyone is here. Participating in something that I miss very dearly. Can we have a moment of silence for our dear friend, Couch Co-op? And by everyone, I do mean everyone, as Abigail is also here to join them on their gaming festivities. Abigail is also extremely socially awkward. Didn't know if that wasn't obvious earlier with the giggling at the grieving family members thing. But yeah, she's a little on the strange side.
Oh, yeah. It's right down the hallway.
Oh, sorry.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Girl has got body karate going on.
Do I even want to know what you mean by that? Body karate? The dialogue in this movie is absolutely hilarious. Oh, do I miss the days of tangled gaming cords? And the gaming headsets that look like they're about to land a fucking airplane. And this girl is still snapping pictures. I guess this setting is more appropriate than a funeral, so I'll let it slide. Even Miller is getting on tonight, which I don't know how that's possible. This is an unreleased beta. How could they be playing this if he's not directly in the room with them? I guess you could just make an account and sign in. Seems a little too easy to get into a game that kills you. I digress. Can someone please tell me what accent this is?
Yeah, now, Loretta called my wife, told her I got caught up in a partner meeting.
I can't pinpoint it. I'm starting to see what it's like watching a Steven Seagal movie.
Listen up, we got new coordinates for the new landing zone closer to the coast. And it's gonna be right about him.
Also, this website is just called games.com. This is so 2000s coded, especially with the fake searches at the bottom. Play poker for free, top rated games, cheat code sites. Man, this takes me back. And once again, I love Finn.
Bro.
10 out of 10, no comments. Land party time. The game begins and we're greeted with a book titled The Prayer of Elizabeth. Hutch is tapping all the buttons, but nothing's happening. So Abigail suggests he should read the print on the page. He decides to go for it, and when he does, the text on the page disappears. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Skip this bullshit cinematic foreplay. I want to butter this muffin.
Why do I feel like they just gave him a list of buzzwords to say and his job was to make absurd sentences out of them? They all begin to read the text at the same time. Little do they know they're signing their souls away. Even the game is like,
You know you done fucked up, right?
okay, we love a good character creator. Also, what are the odds that the game has the same stupid visor hat that Swink is wearing? The deep gravelly voice in the game starts to tell the story of Countess Elizabeth Bathory, and October seems to recognize it. According to her, it was an old tale that her grandmother would tell her and Finn when they were kids, also bringing up the terrible crimes Elizabeth committed against young girls. And allegedly, all of these events took place on Garouge Plantation, where the game just happens to take place. After their character creation, which, how accurate is this damn character creation? I just realized that Loomis's character earlier is wearing the exact same robe he was wearing in real life, which I guess makes sense because if you die in the game, you die in real life. But what are the odds that the game has the exact same robe and in the same color? Maybe just an insane coincidence or supernatural? I'm gonna go with the latter. They're then thrown into the game looking like a cast of a House of the Dead installment. We hear that familiar buzzing sound once again as everyone's controllers start vibrating. Oh great, more undead little girls. This game knows my fears, I see. She goes to launch towards Hutch's character, but he takes it out with a crossbow and it drops a rose. According to October, the undead can't cross the twig of a wild rose. I'm sure that piece of knowledge will come in handy later. Also love how Finn complains the game is moving at a snail's pace, and a couple hours later they're running from hordes of undead toddlers. Sounds like a babysitter's worst nightmare. And Finn is wearing a Who Farted t-shirt. 2000s gamers, man. Right on brand, I tell ya. They then find a secret room. Although right before this, Abigail points it out and everyone gives her props like this gateway to the afterlife was hard to miss. In there, they find a portrait of Elizabeth and a diary. The same one they had to read at the beginning of the game. Also, I'd have a counter of how many times noob was said, but it's only been said once and we're 21 minutes in. Negative 10 out of 10, throw the movie in the trash. Meanwhile, Miller is underground exploring some creepy ass tunnels. He tries to play it off like he's not scared, but even his in-game character is shivering from fear. He drops a rose as Hutch recommends, but that was probably a big mistake since now he's all out. He finds himself in some sort of torture room. We can assume this is where Elizabeth was committing her crimes against those children, and Miller is genuinely disturbed by all of this. Unfortunately for him, Elizabeth makes her appearance and drives a knife through his throat. Side note, he was playing this on one of those old ridiculous gaming chairs. This thing had controllers and speakers built into it. This particular one is called the Ultimate Game Chair. This thing went for $500 back in the day, which is over $800 in today's money. Hutch asks Miller if he's getting back on, but uh-oh, someone's hoverboard speeding down the hall. They all decide that's enough spooky gaming for now and they call it a night. However, our boy Miller is going through it. He heads out of his office for the night and oh great, it's storming again. Miss Bathory must have a thing for rain. He gets halfway through the hallway and his office door opens by itself. And once again, the people in this movie have a little more courage than I'm used to, because he straight up jumps into this room screaming, hoping to scare it off. But I also think in a way he's trying to calm his own nerves. He goes to lock the door, but the keys slip out of his hand. As he's picking it up, we see someone in the distance. Is that you, milady? Came all this way to kill old me? Oh, you shouldn't have. The door opens yet again. We hear the buzzing sound again, but false alarm, it's just a controller. Whew, guess I was worried about nothing. Who the fuck is that? Oh my god, that scene was so 2000s horror. Kinda reminds me of Lisa's death from Dead Silence. Also, what rating was this movie? PG-13? Yeah, that explains the toned down nature of things. I mean, we barely got a millisecond to see what happened to Loomis's roommates, and they don't even show Miller's death. Oh yeah, R.I.P. Miller, by the way, with your 17 different accents. Hutch gets to work and sees a whole bunch of police and people crying and shit. It's all sad. He tries to get to Miller's office and we meet two of the worst characters in this movie. Detective King and Detective... How the hell do you even pronounce that? Thibodeau? Detective Thibodeau. Although I'm pretty sure he pronounces it Thibodeau in the movie. What kind of name is this? You mean to tell me we have names like Hutch, Phineas, Abigail, Swink, October? Actually, you know what? I stand corrected. These guys fucking suck, by the way. As soon as they find out he had spoken to Miller at some point before his death, he's automatically a suspect. Hutch explains that he was with 4 other people and they were all playing online in his apartment. Then we get this stupid ass line.
Make sure we get those names.
Roger that.
How? How is he gonna get those names? The person in front of you knows all of the names already. Just ask him. Anyway, Detective Dumb and Ass give Hutch their card, just in case they need to contact him again. Hutch happens to look over and he catches a glimpse of Miller's body. And I can't believe I've gone this long without asking this question, but where is the caution tape? Detective Family Matters asked for some earlier, but why was there not already some out? You just have people walking around doing their job normally while there's a dead body in our presence. We cut to the gamer lounge and Finn has discovered Miller's in-game body. Once again, he's being a dickhead, and October scolds him saying if you had any less sense, you'd be a penny.
Yeah, that's a bar. Yeah.
And Swink is still wearing this dumbass hat. What is this, fucking Malibu's Most Wanted? I wonder though, why is Finn such a jerk? Does he hide his true feelings behind being an ass to everyone in his life? So he doesn't have to face anything real? Because he is absolutely just straight up mean in this scene. He tells them all to leave him alone so he can game in peace and they all head out. He does apologize though, but only to October, so I don't know if that really means anything. Hutch and October are both up on the balcony, Abigail joining them soon after to check on Hutch. And October's all passive aggressive towards her. I'm guessing this is her trying to mark her territory or something. But if it wasn't for the synopsis saying you two are dating, I'd be none the wiser. And my point is proven even more because not even 5 seconds later she lights a cigarette. I'm sorry, did we forget your boyfriend's parents got turned into bacon? Oh, thank God, Swink finally took that dumbass hat off. Although something about Miller's death is rubbing Hutch the wrong way. Abigail claims it's just a sad coincidence, but Swink says what they're all truly thinking. Miller's real-life body and his in-game body being in the exact same position is very odd. So odd that it can't be a coincidence. Meanwhile, Finn is downstairs playing Stay Alive on his bright green Alienware laptop. Anyway, he's playing the game, but he also starts hearing weird noises in real life. Hutch is starting to buy into Swink's theory about something being wrong with the game, so they all head downstairs. Also, why did I think they were at the upper level of the gaming lounge? This is Hutch's apartment. Anyway, they rush over to the lounge and they find Finn hunched over his laptop. Oh God, they got him. Oh wait, no, he's just hitting his bong. Wait, you can smoke weed in here? The funny part is that Hutch is about to tell Finn about him and Swink's theory, but Finn beats him to it. He word for word explains their worries about the game being able to kill people. But then moments after that, he says it sounds crazy? I mean, it can't be too crazy if you also had the same theory. We then get these quadruplet scenes. Swink is working on the computer, Hutch is shaving, Finn is working on his car, and October is cleaning up at the lounge. We also get a good look at Hutch's burn scars. Nice attention to detail. Swink's keyboard starts to bleed. Ew. October sees someone in the mirror. What the hell am I staring at? Nose is cut off, their mouth is sewed shut. I mean, the frame goes by so fast, I almost look like it was a beak, as if I'm being haunted by the ghosts of birds past. Or Voldemort with hair. Finn starts to hear the carriage he saw in the game off in the distance, although it turns out to be someone driving recklessly. And he got the nerve to honk at me. Watch where you're driving. It's not like Finn is working on his car in the middle of the road. It's literally parked off to the side. Swink notices the blood and he freaks out. And then we get the worst of the bunch, with Hutch's pupils disappearing and a mirror cracking. I don't know why I don't like this. Kinda reminds me of the fucking Bye Bye Man. Ugh, such a terrible movie. Everyone's a little freaked out, of course. I also wonder why we didn't get a scene like this for Abigail. In fact, what do she be doing off camera? Getting really high and taking pictures of nature? Hutch heads to work to do some research, which I don't know why he couldn't go to a library for this. I mean, shit, you could have hit up Abigail. I'm sure she knows where a few are. He looks up information on Loomis's death, and we get some of the most HD looking crime scene photos I've ever seen in my life.
Better scramble like an egg before you get folded like an omelet.
Also, why are these just readily accessible for every and anybody to look at? Whose database is this? You can see fingerprint records and everything. Oh, this is a library. Is this in the same building he works in? Oh, that's convenient. Who the hell is this? Is this a drowned? Why is Miss Bathory just plopping dead girls everywhere? Actually, no, that is a good question. Why are there paranormal apparitions appearing in the real world? Or would it be the real world is seeping into the video game world because it's based on real life? You know what? The point is, this is really just a spooky ookie for the audience. If we're going by the rules, you won't die in real life unless you die in the game. At best, they're just here to mess with the character's psyche.
This is why I'm missing my Saturday morning G4 Tech TV weekend wrap up.
Oh my God, did he just say G4? Who remembers G4? That was my shit back in the day. Ah, good times. Anyway, Hutch has gathered everyone together because he's trying to get them to understand that this game is more than just a game. Everyone has died the same way their video game counterparts have died. Mere coincidence? I think not. October actually agrees with him. She says she went to look up some more information on Miss Bathory and she's very much real and did some sick and twisted things when she was alive. The game itself is pretty much based on her real life. From the tower to the cemetery to the torture rooms, the mirrors were serving as a weakness because she couldn't stand to see herself get old. All facts and all things that correlate to the game. Now October tells them all of this and Hutch has this to say.
October, all I care about is finding out what happened to Miller and Loomis, and you are not helping.
Hutch, what the fuck are you talking about? Is this not valuable information? She literally just explained to you all of the details of what we're possibly facing. And you say, I just want to know what happened to Miller and Loomis. Motherfucker, she just told you. It was this hoe. Oh God, I'm getting pissed off. Why is this our main character? A Little Caesar's Pizza has more character depth than you. Anyway, as a punishment for Elizabeth's crimes, they trapped her in her tower, alive. And she proclaimed that one day she will return and wreak havoc. And somehow Hutch is saying October sounds crazy? What the fuck? Oh my God, I'm actually getting pissed now. What the fuck are you talking about, Hutch? What was the point of printing all of this shit up, saying it possibly couldn't be a coincidence just for October to explain this shit, and you acting like she's the one who sounds nuts?
That doesn't make no sense.
Why did you two just switch roles all of a sudden? Now October is the believer and Hutch is the one not buying the video game theory? As much as I love this movie, this is one of the dumbest scenes in this entire film. Also, Finn is running late, so all of my dead meat fans add another tally on that kill count. We cut to him jamming out in his car when all of a sudden the sky goes dark. Someone appears on the road and he swerves off to the side and gets stuck near a tree. October calls him and they get into Abigail's van to go get him. But unfortunately for them, they won't be finding him alive. Oh, okay, come on, don't boo me. I didn't write the damn script. But yeah, Phineas is dead. He gets ran over by a carriage, presumably Elizabeth. One of the more entertaining characters, and now he's gone. They were only 40 minutes into the movie. At least 13 ghosts waited until the last act to kill off Matthew Lillard. They find his body, and October breaks down crying. This is actually pretty sad. I mean, as shitheaded as Finn was at times, I think he could have had a decent character arc. Maybe facing something real for once, tackling some of the inner demons he may have had in himself. I mean, I use humor for my trauma, so I can only imagine what the guy went through. And him and October seem pretty close. So it's just sad all around. RIP my boy Finn. Finn. Although they said moments before this that since Finn hadn't died in the game, he should have been okay. And Miss Bathory is only supposed to come at night. She killed him in broad daylight. So does this signify that the rules aren't being completely followed anymore? But then a few moments later, Hutch is like, oh my god, he died in the same way he did in the game. So was he lying when he said he hadn't died yet? Me confusion. Oh, Detective Dip and Stick are back. Are you two the only detectives in this damn city? They must be the lead detectives. Who the fuck made you guys lead detectives? Must be all those false arrests you made. No investigation needed. If I suspect it's you, you did it. And even worse, Hutch tries to explain how the game works to the detectives, which is a terrible idea. Even if these two didn't share one collective brain cell, telling someone a video game is murdering people just doesn't sound like it will bode over well. Oh, what a surprise. It doesn't. Family Matters takes Hutch on a walk and Detective Hairline decides he wants to play the game to see why everyone's so scared. Doug Dimmadome, you mean Thibodeau? Same difference. Says he doesn't care about the game or whatever Hutch is talking about. If he sees him at another crime scene again, he'll be forced to take Hutch in. Hutch notices Raditz over there playing the game and somehow he's already found himself trapped in a torture device? How did you even have enough time to create a character and get to this room? Hutch and Detective tag me though. You're doing it on purpose now, aren't you? They've only been talking for like a minute or less. Anyway, Hutch tries to stop him, very aggressively might I add. Come on Hutch, you're already possibly a suspect. Don't add assaulting a police officer to the list. Everyone calms down, the detectives leave, and now Swink and Hutch are yelling at each other. Then October's like, why'd you have to bring that game into our life, Hutch? And I'll give her a little grace, her brother did just die. However, it's Finn's fault. Hutch literally said, hey man, my friend was playing that game the night he died. We probably shouldn't even have it, yet alone play it. And Finn's like, nah, she's barely legal, let's get in there. Dude, do you want this video to be demonetized? When a character in a movie says something like what October said, it always rubs me the wrong way. Like I guess they need someone to shift the blame to, but who could have possibly guessed that the video game would start murdering us in real life? And like I said, I understand how October feels. As someone who has lost a sibling in real life, especially one you were close to, this shit sucks. Even worse for October because Phineas was all she had left. And now he's gone. But yelling at each other is not gonna bring him back. It never does. Well, that got morbid. SpongeBob, take us out. Hutch tries to comfort her, but once again, you cannot convince me these two are a couple. And after further research, I realized they're not. I don't know why I thought they were. I think it's because I watched Mr. Gigi's review on this a few years back, and he said they were in his video, so I just went with that. Shout out Mr. Gigi, by the way. I'm glad I caught that while making the video, unlike my grave encounters mix up. Seriously, who the fuck was Keith? It's game plan time. October and Swink need to handle some things in the wake of Finn's death, and Abigail and Hutch are heading to Loomis's house. Why the fuck is Raditz on my screen? Oh, I guess he's at the game store to ask about Stay Alive. We then meet a guy named Fidget. These damn names, I tell you. Who's his best friend? Spinner? His vibes are a little weird too.
Never heard of it. Maybe it's underground. Do you know who made it?
I can see why he's named Fidget. Also, why did no one tell the cops this game was an unreleased beta and literally no one has played it but them? Feel like there would have been some valuable information. Anyway, he heads back to his car, and do y'all remember when he got folded in that torture chair earlier? Yeah, I think you know what time it is. Who the fuck? Also, his death was really quick, by the way. In fact, it was too quick. I don't remember it being this quick. What version of this am I watching? Oh, this is not the unrated version. This is in fact the theatrical cut. There are some key differences here and there. The frame stays on dead bodies for a few seconds longer, and there are some added lines here and there. In fact, one of the noticeable differences is this scene. I'll be sticking to the theatrical cut for quality purposes because most of the copies of the director's cut online aren't the best quality anyway, but I'll get back to one major difference later on. Hutch and Abigail head over to Loomis's house. We then come to learn that Hutch's dad was the one who turned their house into an easy bake oven. They make it inside and pass the room those other two were killed in, and why is there still blood everywhere? And where the fuck is the crime scene tape? Does no one believe in crime scene tape in this city? And watching the theatrical version of this movie is so jarring at times. Like some of the scenes are so quick if you blink you'll miss it. I don't know what type of restrictions they were under, but they had to do way too much cutting for that PG-13 rating. I mean, the difference of how long they stay on certain shots is only seconds, but those extra seconds make a difference. Now inside Loomis's room, Hutch shows Abigail a secret spot inside of Loomis's computer, somewhere the cops wouldn't know to look. And inside there's a sidekick? At least I think it's a sidekick. I wish I grew up in the era of sidekicks. Like I was alive, but I was definitely too young to have my own phone. I guess there's no such thing these days. Kids be having phones at like 8. Inside the phone, Hutch finds the address of where Loomis got the game. Now this is where the theatrical cut differs in major ways compared to the director's cut. In the theatrical cut, we cut to a whole bunch of different scenes before they get to the house where Loomis got the game. But in the director's cut, they go straight there. Now in both cuts, the TV begins to play the news of King's death, the cop with the Raditz hairline. Now a weird thing to note is that while the apartment is about to get raided, Hutch tells Swink in October they're turning around and that they'll meet them back at Loomis's house. But right after Doug Dimmadome says to toss the apartment, we cut to Abigail and Hutch at the address they found on Loomis's phone. It's a little confusing at first, but if you're watching both versions back to back, you can kind of put the puzzle pieces together. You can tell this part really wasn't meant for the theatrical release because it's got that Vaseline lens thing going on. Now this scene in the theatrical cut isn't too different from the uncut version, except for one major major detail. They meet the developer of Stay Alive, a guy named Jonathan Malkus. Now the weird part about this is, I don't think Jonathan made the game in an attempt to murder anyone. It just seems like he was haunted by the tales of Elizabeth Bathory, decided to make a game about her, and she used that as an opportunity to come back and wreak havoc, just as she promised all those years ago when she died. Now Jonathan has a few screws loose, that's for sure, but he's definitely taken aback when they show him the photos of everyone's dead bodies. He tells them there is a book called The Lady of Blood, and that he knows someone that can maybe help them out. The woman they visit pretty much tells him everything we already know. Elizabeth was indeed a real person. She would kill young girls, drain their bodies, and bathe in their blood because she was obsessed with the idea of staying young forever. And in her mind, the blood of the youth made her skin younger and softer. Absolutely horrifying. Now the plantation she committed these crimes on is said to have completely burned down, but the large tower and the dungeons as mentioned earlier are rumored to still be standing, in a secret location. No one knows exactly where it is. Now back to where we were. The same things happen. They find out King is dead, the cops show up, they escape, blah blah blah. Only this time they do end up back at Loomis's house. Swink isn't completely on board with the whole ghost is killing everyone thing, and then the game starts playing by itself, which kinda answers my question from earlier. Like, it would be easy as hell to just play the game, realize some freaky shit is going on, and never play it again. But it's different when the game forces you to play. But even then, you couldn't just uninstall this shit, or take the disc out or something, sign out of the account maybe. I don't know why they haven't just straight up deleted this game off of all of their devices, rather than playing Ghost Detective and trying to get down to the bottom of everything. And unfortunately, it's going to be our last time seeing October. She sees a dead girl that's inside the house is being worked on for construction, and for some reason decides to head inside. Your guess is just as good as mine. The other three head outside to see where she went, and Sweek is freaking out because of the rules of the game. Listen, Sweek, I hate to break it to you in your stupid hat, but the whole if we don't play it we'll be fine thing is out the window. And now all of a sudden they make the realization that the game is playing by itself? I thought we knew that back in the house when Sweek said he didn't touch or open the game. What is the logic in this movie? We come back to October, who's found herself a weapon because yeah, I'm sure a hammer would do lots of damage to a supernatural psycho bitch. Okay, a nail gun is more sensible. Still stupid, but at least you can attack from a distance. She points it at Elizabeth in the window as she slowly walks forward. Elizabeth turns around and what do you know? Trying to shoot a ghost makes even less sense in practice. She gets grabbed by one of the loose shackles on the ground because that's just conveniently there. It pulls her leg and she gets hung upside down. She says a cool one-liner before Elizabeth slits her throat. And the door the other three were trying to get open miraculously unlocks. But of course, it's too late. R.I.P. my girl October. The silver lining to this whole thing is that she'll hopefully be reunited with her brother. Now it's just Hutch, Abigail, and Swink against the world. Hutch is going through it because all of his closest friends have gotten packed up in a matter of weeks. Abigail is driving uncomfortably, and Swink is just Swink. Anyway, Hutch makes a comment saying Abigail should have just left when she had the chance since her life was so perfect. She told him earlier in the movie about her dad being an architect and her mom being a kindergarten teacher, and that she would be starting at Princeton soon. When in reality, that was all a lie. She is indeed homeless. In fact, this very van that we're driving in is the one she lives in. She didn't tell them the truth earlier because she didn't want them to be embarrassed for asking about it. Consider it. Although times be hard, Abby. I'm sure they would have understood. I mean, you've seen how small Hutch's apartment is. They all agree they need to put a stop to whatever's happening. Swink then pulls out his laptop, and man, Alienware was getting all the product placement in this movie. Swink decides he can act as a decoy in the game and give them some time to head to that address and find some answers. Abigail and Hutch head inside while Swink stays outside to play the game. Oh shit, you know it's serious when he takes the hat off. A lot of this scene plays similar to the director's cut, only we get a lot more scenes of Swink playing the game outside. And when Abigail picks up the Elizabeth doll this time, Jonathan doesn't appear afterwards. Still crazy how he had no answers for them about a game that he created. And while playing, Swink makes the grisly discovery that the house they're in is near the old plantation. In-game Swink is guiding the way for real-life Hutch. Also, Abigail is completely by herself in the house. Big no-no. Hutch finds the gate in the back of the house and it leads right to the cemetery. And even more important, right to the tower. Garouge Plantation was here the entire time. I guess it makes sense of why the game is so accurate to real life. Like, it's a one-to-one recreation. So did Jonathan know this was here? He had to have. He created the game. So why did you send him to that random book lady instead of your own backyard? You had to know this was here, right? I feel like that's a very important detail you wouldn't have left out. Because if you didn't know this was here, you just made the greatest educational guess in the history of educated guessing. We come back to Abigail inside the house, and as she's looking around, she's finding all the evidence you could possibly need. A bunch of pictures and portraits of Elizabeth, the carrot she would ride around in, and even the cutting shears she would use. And the cherry on top, Elizabeth's diary is in here too. Still intact and everything. And with the list of names of all the girls she had killed. God damn, Miss Bathory was getting busy. Unfortunately, while Abigail's looking at the diary, the entire room goes pitch black. All of a sudden, it's a bunch of dead girls and cockroaches appearing around Abigail. Side note, in the uncut version, she finds Jonathan's body. What the fuck happened to him? I'm assuming Elizabeth killed him, but why was he allowed to live for so long? He low-key should have been dead. Tisk, tisk, tisk. That's unfortunate. Hutch hears her screaming inside, so he asks Swink for help getting back to where she is. For me, this is one of the coolest parts in the movie. Like, for example, Hutch needs to get a latch open, but he needs a crowbar for it. Swink drops one in the game, and it appears in real life. And the same thing happens when Swink unlocks a door for Hutch in the game, and it unlocks in real life. I really like that. It's world bending in a way where it's not overly convoluted. Still pretty convenient that Swink happened to have both a key and a crowbar, but whatever, it's cool. Meanwhile, Elizabeth is getting ready to turn Abby into a shish kebab. Hutch thinks he won't make it in time, so Swink goes goes ahead of him in the game and drops some roses, ultimately saving Abigail's life. Hutch picks her up and they have an out-of-place, awkward-ass kiss. I mean, I guess they were hinting at this, but this is literally the first romantic thing they've done all movie, besides holding hands. Swink calls to check on them, but while they're talking, the game starts playing by itself again. Swink, we already established this bitch be cheating. Don't leave your laptop unattended. He's barely able to reach the joystick and get out of the way of being hit by the carriage. He breaks a window and makes it back into the van and starts playing again. I hope you plan on replacing that, Swink. Just busted open Abigail's window like that. This is her house after all. Elizabeth is not having it though. She starts to lurk in the shadows, forcing Swink to hop out of the van and make a run for it. Also, shout out to Frankie Muniz because he is haul-assing. Man does not skip cardio day. Although as fast as he can run, unfortunately he doesn't make it away in time. He ends up tangled in some vines nearby. Elizabeth gets out of her carriage, shears in hand. Abigail and Hutch finally make it back to the van, but when they get to the computer, it's too late. And then there were two. They start gathering nails and roses in preparation for the final boss. Oh yeah, we're in final act time, by the way. Elizabeth spins the block and Hutch and Abigail make their way through the cemetery maze. They make it to the tower and Hutch decides it's brave sacrifice time and closes Abigail in, while he stays outside. Although it's not really a sacrifice at all, he just takes out a rose and holds it out to stall her for a bit. He's perfectly fine. So dramatic, and for what? He makes it back inside and they both head to Elizabeth's underground dungeon. And Miss Bathory is wasting no time because she immediately tries to get the jump on Hutch. But with the swiftness, Abigail hits her with a handful of roses. They make a run for it, but they hear something behind them and we get this. I don't understand why they didn't just put the actual girls in the scene. Maybe constraints, or maybe they wanted it to look like the video game is seeping into the real world. It doesn't look the best is all I'm saying. I honestly don't even remember that scene. They find a room that will lead them straight into the steps of the tower. Hutch heads inside, but for some reason Abigail is taking her sweet ass time. The doors close and now they're separated. I'm like 90% sure she has ADHD. We get distracted a little easily, okay? Cut her some slack. Unfortunately for her though, there is no time for them to try to get this door open. So Hutch has to move forward without her. He makes it up top and finds Elizabeth's body, and wow, she literally has not aged a day. I mean, her methods are pretty fucked up, but you can't say they didn't work. Meanwhile, Abigail is wasting her rose because she's playing a game of he loves me not. Don't think now is the best time, Abby. She ultimately gets kidnapped and hung upside down, all while Hutch is upstairs digging the nails into Elizabeth's body. We also get a shot of her naked for some reason. Oh, probably because the whole bathing in blood thing. No offense, Miss Bathory, I ain't need to see all that. Hutch thinks it's over, but Elizabeth rises from the dead and expels the nails from her body. At first he doesn't notice, but he hears a nail drop and he puts two and two together. Fortunately for him, he still has that shiny metal plate from Swink's gaming laptop, and he remembers the whole thing about Elizabeth hating mirrors because she didn't want to see herself get old. He holds it up to her and we get the goofiest looking face I've ever seen in my life. It's like an Elizabeth Bathory bobblehead. Hutch grabs his lighter and lights her ablaze, but whoopsie, the door is locked. Now you would think maybe this is where Hutch overcomes his fear of fire and bravely figures out a way to get himself out of here. And that's a good guess. Although, you'd be wrong. He just balls up in the corner and starts screaming at nothing. And he stays that way until Swink busts open the door with a bundle of roses and Abigail. Oh shit, Swink's alive. I mean, you could have guessed that because I never gave him a proper RIP. But our boy is back and he's in his badass era, and Hutch finally gathers up the courage to cross the fire. They all make it out of the tower and leave the premises in silence. I checked the uncut version as well, and in both of them, this is the last time we see this trio. I was hoping we'd at least get one extra scene with them, but nope. I also saw Miss Bathory's entire ass. Yeah, she got booty butt naked in the uncut version. But in the end, we cut back to the gaming store with Fidget, and he's unboxing a new game. Oh no. Yep, it's Stay Alive, and it's in mass production too? Now this is really bad. Lots of people will die before they do an official recall of the game, if they even get a chance to. But however, Elizabeth is dead. The tower is burning down as we speak, and from the looks of it, they defeated her spirit. So is this really a bad thing? Or does she continue to live on through the game? Because if that's the case, then yeah, everyone's fucked. But if not, I mean, it'd be a cool tale to tell your grandkids. I don't know. I'd honestly pay to see the group's reaction once they find out it's being sold in stores. But I guess we'll never know. And that, my friends, is Stay Alive. I had a blast covering this movie. It's been a very long time since I've watched it. And while there are parts that didn't age the best, I don't care. It's still dumb fun. And some parts of it still creep me out a little bit. All in all, I'd say this movie is something you can still turn on. And maybe get some nostalgia if you were a gamer like myself in the early 2000s. Have you seen Stay Alive? If so, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. If not, definitely check it out. And watch the director's cut if you can find a copy of it. I love this movie growing up, so it's got my stamp of approval. My name is Greaves, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!